Live production. I'm your host, Lauren Meadows of GatorBaitMedia.com with the best shoe game in the Gator media. And tonight we head to the new year with the final installment of What's Got Troupe Trippin' with former Florida Gator great and host of 84 Reasons podcast, Ben Troupe. Rob Browne of SEC Sidelines joins us to talk about where the Gators will go at quarterback, leaning into the fact that DJ Lagway is no longer there. Will it be Tramel Jones? Will it be Aaron Philo or someone else to take the Gators home next season? We talk college football playoff and thoughts on this weekend's game. And then finally, what is going on in college basketball as G League and overseas players look to return to the college ranks? I don't know how we're doing that. The Sidelines Live team would like to thank our sponsors, Meldon Law and Titan MRI and Imaging. Subscribe to the Lowdown with Lauren Meadows on YouTube and Facebook, as well as our partner shows, including the Buddy Martin Show, SEC Sidelines, and Scarborough Knows. And follow yours truly on Instagram at Ohio Gator for Life and X at Real Ohio Gator. Let's get to it. So we kind of head into the new year. Things are just kind of rounded into form. Coaches being hired. The Florida staff is trying to get themselves in place. And the Gators are kind of without kind of a head man. But, as we get into the new year, it's always time for the college football playoffs, some big games, including the rematch, so to speak, from 2003. I saw Trick Daddy hooping and hollering today as he was headed to Dallas for the game with the Miami Hurricanes against the Ohio State Buckeyes, one of the marquee games this weekend. But before we get to all that and all things otherwise, gentlemen, how was your Christmas? We welcome in Ben Troupe, as well as Rob Browne of SEC Sidelines. How was Christmas, fellas?
I mean, Christmas was great. Great. Got a chance to be around family. Just, it's always good to be able to be around family, be around your kids and your nieces and your nephews. And, not that I was looking to see what type of gifts I got. I'm not gonna tell you guys what I got. I think I got to do a better job of asking for gifts. I don't do a good enough job of saying, hey, like, your kids will give you their list.
Uh-huh.
I'm sorry. They're going to give you their expectations on that list. Like, they expect to get it. I don't do a good enough job of asking for what I want. I don't want a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
So the next year, I'm going to do what they do. I'm going to be like, look, I'm gonna send you what they do now. They not only send you the list, they send you the link to where you get it from.
My nephew did the same thing. Yep.
So, matter of fact, I'm gonna have a Christmas show. Lauren, you, and Rob will have a show called List and Links for Christmas.
I like that. Yeah, I do. I like that.
But no, it was great. It was great. Just being around family, being around your niece and your nephews, your kids. It don't get better than that, because we went from being the ones asking for gifts to being the ones buying the gifts. Only difference is you got to have a job to get these gifts these days. At least I do.
Oh, yeah. No doubt. Yeah. What about you, Rob?
They're all great. And I was like, one of the things I noticed, though, I get my wife and people, kids, so much stuff during the year. You get to Christmas. We didn't used to be like that. You kind of waited till Christmas to get stuff. And I'm like, God, what do you want? And it gets hard, but I just love it. Yeah, because you get to see everybody, and everybody is around, and everybody wants to go duck hunting, but everybody loves to watch football, and the conversations were a lot about football. Who's going to stay? Who's going to go? And I'm telling you what, Ben, RIP to a lot of college football, what we love, and I hope we're close to fixing it, but honor and grit and grind, toss those out the window was what a lot of people say, but without it, we wouldn't be talking about the game that we love in your career and everybody before you. So somehow I think it's going to work itself out sooner than later, I hope.
It will. Rob. It will. I will say this, though. The only people that can fix college football is coaches. Because
Well,
everything the player, go ahead, Lauren.
before we dive in, I do want to say two things. So Ben, my father, who died at I think 77 years old, and his last Christmas, I guess, was 2019 before COVID. He died during COVID, but he made a list for us and the rest of the family, basically up until his dying day. That's number one. And then number two, I want to give a shout out to my stepson and his wife, Bill and Emily down in Naples. They gave my wife and I a really nice gift. We're going on a cruise in a couple days. So that was So I got to give them a shout out. I also got to give my wife a shout out. She for those that follow the pickleball game, she bought me a what they call a new boomstick. So if you
Wait a
look
minute, you out there doing people, Lauren? That's
man,
what you
I'm out there.
said.
Yeah, I'm addicted. Absolutely. If you want to come with it, you catch the fade in this pickleball. But yeah, Ben, I've been playing for Kelly Ray Finley. Got me involved in that pickleball tournament. I've been hooked since I bought 4 paddles since October.
I'm not. And the one thing I did forget to mention is the generations, right? So my brother's kids are obviously the oldest kids. And then they got mine and then my sisters. What's crazy is I got a nephew that's 23 and I got a nephew that's 3 in the same generation. And the thing about it is just to watch all these jokers grow, man. Every last one of them. I ain't see them all come out the womb, but I'm like, my nephew walked in the crib. I remember when that joker used to be in the back seat with a car seat. Now he like, yo, Unc. I'm like, what is it? Like, he hit me with the whole, I'm not telling you what I want, but he's doing his hands like this. I'm like, well, listen, but he's smart though. He said, Unc, I'm not gonna give you an amount. I'm just gonna wait on you to bless me. Boy, you smart. You smart. But no. There isn't a. But you know what? I will say this. My wife told me that she's gonna get me like a man cave. Like she gonna get me one. Like we finna get right with the man cave stuff.
Okay.
But then I hit and she asked me, "What are you gonna call your man cave?" I was like, I said, "Oh, it's gonna be called NWA." And she was, "Oh, what's that?" I said, "No women allowed."
No women
and she
allowed.
Was like,
yes, sir. So while we get into that, we probably headed to that way, but as we round out 2025, it wouldn't be right if we didn't get our final installment of What's Got Troupe Tripping. And I know it's a lot we can cover and a lot we've broken down over 25, both publicly and privately. But before we really just, get into all things football and college football, and we're going to talk about college basketball, or I don't know what we call it now, amateur basketball. And we're going to talk about these playoff games. But, Ben Troupe, the floor is yours. What's got Troupe tripping?
What's got me tripping is this. Everybody said that the end of college football, first, right, it was going to be the transfer portal. Then they said it was going to be NIL. No one talks about early signing day. That's what has shifted college football. The kids are signing in 2026, signing in 2025, and so on and so forth. But this is what got me tripping. No one had anything to say to Lincoln Riley. There was nothing wrong with Oklahoma when he went to SC. There was nothing wrong with Florida State when Jimbo Fisher went to Texas A&M. There was nothing wrong with Ole Miss when you talk about Lane Kiffin going over to LSU. These players are getting everything they do and how they do from these coaches. Rob, you make a great point. But the only people that can fix college football are the coaches. Coaches are the only ones talk about loyalty. Coaches are the only ones talk about no grit. Coaches are the only ones talk about don't nobody want to compete. If that's the case, why did Nick Saban get out of college football when NIL came? Because he knew I'm not going to have the same voice. I'm not going to have the same reach. I'm not going to have the same influence. All I'm saying is this. We're only talking about the Fortune 500 college football teams. We're not talking about small business college football teams because we don't even know those teams and we don't know those players. So I get that the Michigan and the Floridas and the Tennessees and the Auburns and Ohio States are getting money, but they are one school out of about 20 schools in these states. NIL has one problem. It doesn't stretch long enough. Not the money, but what it can do for these young men and young women in college football. So in college athletics. So what got me tripping is Franz Beer said to the best, football is idiot proof. Once we kick the ball off, None of this stuff matters. But when there is no football, we'll fill it with a lot of holes. And I think NIL gonna be fine as long as everybody benefits. With Rob, anybody walking, you got people, you are a financial advisor to extraordinaire. People walking there are people that are thousandaires, millionaires, and you treat them both the same.
Yeah.
You're gonna treat them both the same. Well, NIL should be the same way. How can we make it so that everybody gets something? And that's all I've ever said about NIL. Everybody not gonna. Deion Sanders said the best. Yeah. If you don't want people complaining about money, you shouldn't have gave us different size checks. We gonna complain about that. But for every Ohio State, think about it, Lauren. How many really, really good college football teams in Ohio not named Ohio State? A bunch. But Ohio State gonna get the biggest check, and no one's mad at that. But everybody should get something. When people say, well, Ben, what should that something be? Figure it out. We can figure out to give them. Because when I was in college, it wouldn't have been about the money. But I would love to have a gift card at AMC. We go look at a movie every week. I would love to get a gift card from Nike. We're sponsored by Nike. I would love to get my cell phone paid for. I would love to get a gas card. None of those things hurt those companies. It's only benefit. So I'm talking about that. And whatever money you can get it. But life is not about this, man. Life, simple and plain, man. It's not what you can get. It's not what you get. It's what you negotiate. If you negotiated this money, get your money. But my nephew is at Kennesaw State right now.
Yeah,
he's gonna be one of the running backs next year. He's gonna be one of the starting running backs. He said, what should I do with NIL? I said, get you a financial advisor. Why? Because now how much money you make is how much money you got. If you ain't got it, what does it matter? And all I'm saying is, everybody, it's like this. It's like life. I'm from the country. I'm from the South. People in the South don't want to be rich. They just don't want to be financially, bound. They just want to be able to have a little something to leave somebody. And all I'm saying is, you telling me that every college football player, every student athlete can't walk away with something? Yeah. And that's all I'm saying. We're not gonna fix the Rob and Lauren, because if that was the case, what if the Dallas Cowboys had to win games to be popular? They don't. Yeah. And they're the most. It's about branding. So how can we help them make their brands bigger? How can we because sometimes the perception of a thing is bigger than the actual thing. So how can I help you build on that perception of things? Right. So I don't know what the answer is, but I do know this: until coaches show loyalty, players will never do it. I'm talking about never, ever. And all coaches got to do is say, well, I'm not going to sign this, $100 million deal in 2025, and I'm gone in 2026.
Yeah.
And I'm getting paid to leave. So right. I don't know what the solution is, but I will say I'm rooting for these players, Rob, and I hope that NIL help you get a lot more student athletes as clients. Because let me tell you who the real crook is. It ain't the players; it's these people representing them. When I went to the NFL, the most my agent could get was 3%. These agents getting 15 and 20. What? Yeah. Come on, man, stop the nonsense.
And that's what I wanted to pivot to Rob on, is the fact that, like, Rob, you work with those financial people. You live in that world. You basically worked in the same building as Jimmy Sexton at one time.
I did work.
And somebody said to me, they said, everybody talks about the coaches and they want to blame the coaches. Everybody talks about the kids and blame the kids. And what I told him is, I've always said, blame the adults. And who's part of those adults, Rob, is these agents, like Ben said. And I think that we never look at that as those driving forces to the way that this thing is being done. I mean, you have players on rosters, particularly Florida. Let's just stick with Florida. And they're basically saying, hey, good news. So-and-so has re-signed for the 2026 season. So, I mean, right now, that's where we are.
It is. And I was, where are we going to find, where are these people going to work? Because they're going to get their ass handed to them in the real world. They're going to get kicked in the swimsuit area every morning. Because the reason, what we love so much about college football is people like Ben Troupe. I mean, I met Ben, I guess 5 years ago. We're on these shows together, and it's like everybody loves him, and because they're like, that guy is so real, and he's so not what we think professional athletes are. He goes back to Florida, and Ben hangs out with the scout team guys, and he hangs out with his starting teammates. But he said one time, they're the ones who made me who I am. And when it comes to this money, Ben, when you went from college to the pros and suddenly you started getting, ACH into your bank account every time you played, you had to block that out because you still had to play football.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, I have seen it. I know some people that run some of these collectives, and they're just in shock. But you've got, I did see at an NIL meeting I was at, 20% is what they were wanting originally. 20%. An agent can get 3, maybe you can get 4. I've got a friend that represents, he represented Emmitt Smith, Brian Urlacher, all these guys. I'm going to tell you something. Financial literacy is absolutely critical because you look at the money being thrown out there. And now these 17 and 18-year-old kids are being told, okay, they got to support their family. Don't put that on a 17, 18-year-old. You're only 18 one time. Mm-hmm. You're a college student. Man, I know if I would have gotten an NIL deal when I was 19, a freshman in college, I'd have never seen that money, even though I would have been of age in my state. It would have been put into the stock market and invested. I'd have never seen it. I'd have gotten a little pittance of it. But the scary part is, and you saw this, Ben, in the professional as an NFL player, all the guys, I'll tell you an example. There was a field goal kicker at Auburn about 10 years ago. And his mom was telling us one night, she said, he has all of his former teammates from Auburn, a lot of whom make way more than him, hitting him up to borrow money. My wife worked for a family brokerage in Atlanta. One of the biggest superstars in the NBA could not pay his insurance premiums until the first game of the season. He had so much chaos in his life. He was making millions a year. I'm telling you, what we are doing in college, don't be surprised if the NFL's already saying the product that you're sending out of the kitchen and putting on the table ain't what it was 5-10 years ago. It's not even close. Mm-hmm. Ben, I saw a great thing about Mario Gabelli, one of the best money managers in the history of Wall Street, asking, where do you find your employees, your guys? Harvard, Yale, Princeton? He goes, stop. I hire PhDs, poor, hungry, and determined to be a better than where they came from. If you stop getting people like that, you're done. And Ben, your foundation, 84 Reasons, your podcast, are a perfect example of what we love about college sports and the guys and gals that played them. I can't tell you right now, Brendan's going to have to start putting the ticker like you see on the stock market at the bottom of the screen to keep up with the rosters. We have no idea who anybody is anymore. And so the game, like Tony Barnhart was on with us this morning. Not even the adults can screw it up. Okay, but we're certainly enabling this chaos to continue. And I talked to my personal attorney today, who's an expert in antitrust law. Mm-hmm. What the NCAA is terrified of is being drawn into court for an antitrust suit. We got salary caps in pro football. We got it in basketball. And we think these guys are going to be prepared to be professionals. They're going to get to the NFL and go, man, it was a better deal in college.
Well, and I mean, to Ben's point, we also got revenue sharing in those sports. Yeah. And I think that's where, like you said, it's protecting. I think the three of us are all talking about protecting this game we love, but also protecting everybody's right to participate. And if this continues on, Rob, there will be no Kent States. There will be no Akrons. No. There will be no Kennesaw States. There will not be, I mean, you just,
it won't be no walk-ons.
No, won't be no walk-ons. And like we said,